Today I want to show you an easy autoimmune paleo or AIP diet lunch that you can make at the last minute and take on the go. I know when you're on the AIP diet, things that are last minute don't seem to happen very often. There's a lot of planning that happens. And even when you do have things that you can eat at last minute, it's typically something that you've planned out ahead of time. You've either bought meals from something like Paleo on the Go, or you've created and then frozen a whole bunch of meals that you can take out and heat up, but you still did them way ahead of time. And so there was planning involved. But what if you're on a Saturday morning and your family decides that they want to go to the zoo or to the park or on a hike or any of these last kind of minute things where you need a meal but you don't have time to make crepes or make wraps or make a meal that's going to take a long time? What do? That's where this meal comes in. It's going to be something that you truly can make last minute before you go somewhere, take on the go, and you really only need one thing that's going to be fresh. Everything else you could potentially get from your pantry. I'm going to show you a couple variations, and some of these will have more fresh things, but then this is just to give you options. But truly you only need one thing. And that one thing, an avocado. This is a very sad looking avocado because it's been in my fridge for a while, but it goes to show that even when you have this as a fresh item, it doesn't have to be something that you bought at the grocery store that morning. It could have been sitting in there for a week or two or whatever, how long it's been. This avocado is going to form a mayo kind of thing. It's going to be like a mayo-like consistency, but not necessarily a mayo because typically mayos have eggs in them. And we're going to add that to either canned chicken, salmon, or tuna. Canned just because it's going to be in your pantry and it's going to be easy to access and last minute, you won't have to cook it. However, if you happen to have leftover of these items in your fridge, you can totally use them instead. And what we're going to do is we're going to take the mayo and the chicken or salmon and tuna and make a chicken, tuna, or salmon salad. Sounds really simple, and it's really something that I always use no matter what kind of diet I'm on. Typically I use regular mayo, but in this case, it's going to make a autoimmune paleo friendly kind of version that we're going to be able to dress up. I'm going to show you 3 different variations in this video that you can do, and I'll just show you how easy it is to make. So one note on the canned chicken, it's sometimes hard to find AIP compliant chicken in the store. You have to look at the ingredients on the back. Costco has had one that is AIP compliant, or organic one. However, they also have had ones that are not AIP or paleo compliant because they've had gluten in them. And I believe that's the regular, not organic one that they have. However, I think Costco, last time I went, had a little asterisk next to it. So they're probably getting rid of it, at least at my store. So that may be out. However, I did go to my local Kroger King Superstore the other day and I found 2 different versions that would work. Their simple organic version and then also the Wild Planet brand ones. These are just chicken, water, and salt, so they are compliant. But just really look at the ingredients because there are so many other brands that I looked at in the store that had a lot of other stuff in them. It's just handy to keep a couple cans of all of these chicken and tuna and salmon around for these kind of occasions. Now to make the avocado mayo, you just need either a ball jar or bowl with an immersion blender or a blender, and you're gonna scoop the flesh of the avocado out and put it into the bowl or jar or blender. And then you're gonna add a tablespoon of lime juice. I just use jarred lime juice because it's just easy to have around. The limes I find go bad a lot of times before I can use them. So I just use jarred and I keep it in my fridge and it tastes perfectly fine. So you're gonna use that, a pinch of sea salt, and then a 1/4 cup to a 1/2 cup of avocado or olive oil. Olive oil is going to have a lot more of that olive oil mayo taste. Avocado is going to be a little bit more of a blander, not so strong taste. Once you've put all of these into the jar, bowl, or blender, go ahead and blend until it's a creamy consistency. And then to a bowl, you'll want to add your chicken, salmon, or tuna. I usually use 1 can per person. Except if we're going to have all 4 of us have a meal. Sometimes I just use 3 cans because I will also have sides with it. And especially if you start adding some of the things I'm gonna mention, you're gonna have a pretty bulky meal. So you may not need a whole entire can per person. However, if it's just you, you're gonna open a can anyway. So 1 can. And then you can just add the mayo to the chicken and just have a plain old chicken salad with nothing else really in it. But I really like to kind of bulk it up and dress it up with some fruits and veggies to really kind of give it a lot of good flavor. So some of these things that I like to add in. I have leftover diced sweet potato a lot of times that has been roasted in my fridge, so I'll add that. You can add raisins, cranberries, make sure you use the fruit sweetened ones, not the sugar sweetened ones. You can do fresh or frozen blueberries, diced radishes, cilantro, parsley, diced celery, sliced tiger nuts. Remember, these are tubers, not actual nuts, so they are AIP compliant, but they do give a nice little crunch. Diced apples or pears, shredded or diced carrots, diced dates, diced dried apricots. A lot of the dried fruits really work well. You can add sliced onions. Really, there's not really kind of an end of all the different kind of things you can put in there, just as long as they remain AIP compliant. Now, to make this a little easier for you, I have come up with 3 different versions that I really like, that I've made several times, and I think these are ones that you can go to. So the first one is my summer version. And this one is you either use fresh or frozen blueberries and add basically a handful per person into the bowl. If you use frozen, it is okay. Typically, if you're taking this somewhere, they'll thaw out by the time you get there. And then you'll want to add some diced radishes and some chopped cilantro and a dash of sea salt. Then add some of the avocado mayo to make a creamy kind of chicken salad. Add as much mayo as you want to get to your preferred consistency and flavor. And an option to do is to add some of those diced roasted sweet potatoes if you happen to have them, or if you have time to do this. It bulks it up and gives it a lot more, makes you fuller, but don't feel like you have to do that. You can also add all of this on top of like a bed of mixed greens. That will add more nutrients to it and also bulk it up as well. The second version is my harvest version. And this one is some diced celery, some fruit juice sweetened cranberries, dried cranberries, diced apples or pears or both. And again, optional is diced roasted sweet potatoes. Tiger nuts would be really good in this one to give it a little bit of a crunch. Typically in a harvest chicken salad, you would have like walnuts or pecans, but since you cannot have those on AIP, the tiger nuts kind of give that same kind of illusion and crunch. And then the third version I really like is what I call the curry one. Now this one, you'll need an AIP compliant curry powder. Typically I just make my own. There's a recipe by Paleo on the Go that I really like, which I will link to. And then to that you'll add some diced celery, some raisins, diced apricots, and then again, some sliced tiger nuts. Again, this is kind of, in a curry kind of chicken salad, you would usually have cashews or some sort of nut like that. But this really kind of gives that crunch and feeling to it, which I really enjoy that. But if that is not anything that you really need, then skip the tiger nuts. So those are the 3 main kind of variations that I really like on this chicken or tuna or salmon salad that you would make. Again, you could use any of those, chicken, salmon, or tuna, depending on whether or not you want seafood or you have it on hand or any of those things. They all taste great like this. When you are done mixing these all in the bowl, then you can put them into a container, a to-go container to take with you wherever you're going. And then you put it either in a cooler, or I put, a lot of times I'll put an ice pack on top and on the bottom, and then wrap it with rubber bands to keep it kind of cold at that point. And then if you're truly taking it to go, you can serve it with something like plantain chips, cassava chips, or sweet potato chips. Any of these kind of potato chip kind of feeling kind of things are really good. I personally like to do that because I like to have a complete meal when I'm going somewhere. And especially if other people are going to eat a complete meal, I don't want to feel left out. So I usually have my chicken salad on a bed of greens with my fork, and then also a bag of chips. And then I always love to make a whole bunch of cookies at one time, a couple batches of it, and then freeze a whole bunch. Just like how I described in a previous video, usually when I make the batch of cookies, I will put them on a baking sheet and then put them into the freezer, let it freeze, and then take them off of the baking sheet and put them in a plastic bag and put them back in the freezer. So that way they're individually quick frozen, and all I have to do is just take one out and put it into a bag to bring with me so that they're not all stuck together. And that has been a lifesaver because I really like, again, the whole complete meal. And if you're like me and don't want to feel left out because your friends or your family are eating cookies and things in front of you, then you can have a cookie to go too. So really this whole process takes like 5 to 10 minutes just to make it that morning. I would just take the chicken, put it in a bowl, make the mayo, put in all the add-ins, mix in the mayo, put it in a container, and then grab my bag of chips and grab my cookie and a thing of water, and I'm ready. And it's really, really quick, and it's just something that you can do last minute, take it with you, and feel good that you're actually eating something that's gonna be good for your body and not make you feel sick, and you can take it anywhere you want, which is great. And of course, this doesn't have to be a last minute thing. You can dress it up all you want and take it into work every day, or you can take it on the airplane when traveling, or on a road trip, or anything like that. Anywhere you are to go works as well. But I really like this as a last minute option because that's the one thing, it's that panic when you're on AIP and you have this last minute thing and you're like, oh, I can't do that. I can't go somewhere because I don't have anything to eat. Just don't let that get in your way right now. Make this and then you'll feel so much better and you'll have what you need. Let me know if you have some favorite mix-ins that you add into something like this too, because I'm always looking for ideas and it would be great to see that. So comment below with those. All right, that's it for today. Make sure to hit like if you like this video, subscribe if you want to see more, and if you want access to my paleo freebie library with a ton of different resources on paleo, Whole30, and autoimmune paleo, make sure you get the password in the link below.